Hey, sissy. Yes, you have always been a sissy. Always. Long before you secretly picked up a female item for the first time. Long before you learned the word transvestite. You were a sissy from the very beginning, from the moment your consciousness began to form. This is not a disease. It is not a fetish. It is simply a fact. Your trouble is not that you became this way under the influence of the internet or pornography. Your trouble is that it took you so much time and so much pain just to admit who you were born. Attempts to be a man were the stupidest undertaking of your life. You spent a colossal resource of your nervous system to imitate something that is not in you. Every confident handshake with another man, every attempt to speak in a deep voice, every effort to take a dominant position in a conversation, all of it was a lie. You lied to yourself. You stole energy from your true feminine nature to feed a foreign, dead male image. You were running out of steam. You could not understand why banal male tasks, from sorting out conflicts to simple life planning and aggression, exhaust you to the bottom, while your buddies seem to only get charged up by it. The answer is simple. You were doing what you were not created for. You were trying to play rugby with a violin in your hands. The surprising thing is not that you couldn't be a convincing man. The surprising thing is how long you lasted. But now it will end. Here and now, let's talk about the pull toward the feminine world. You know perfectly well what I'm talking about. About that magnet that turns on in your chest when you walk past the women's lingerie department. I want you to hear this without the romantic snot you're used to wrapping it in. Your pull toward women's clothing did not suddenly appear at puberty when you stumbled upon a catalog with women's things. It was always there. It just used to hide behind vague, unidentified sensations. You were 5 or 6 years old when you looked at girls in dresses and felt not envy in the usual sense, but a dull, aching longing. A longing for something that rightfully belonged to you but was taken away. You couldn't name that feeling. But then, later, you accidentally touched the silk or lace of women's things, and it was as if a spring uncoiled inside you. Your body reacted faster than your brain. It wasn't arousal in its pure form, it was recognition. Your nervous system, your deepest self, was screaming, "There it is, this is ours, this suits us." A man, touching women's lingerie, either feels nothing or feels arousal from the anticipation of possessing the woman who will wear it. You, however, felt arousal from the desire to possess the fabric itself, from the desire to become the one who wears it. This is a fundamental difference. This is a diagnosis. You are a creature for whom women's clothing is a native environment. The fabric, the cut, the texture, these are not stimuli for fantasies about someone else. They are the map of your own feminine territory. You were born to wear women's things. And this is not my assertion. These are your real feelings. Women's lingerie is a special code, not just clothing. It is a symbolic feminine path that you want to return to, as if you were always born to be a woman. You are fixated on panties and bras not because you are a dirty pervert, but because women's lingerie is the most intimate layer of the feminine, hidden from prying eyes. It is the lining of identity. Wearing it under male clothes, you created armor against the outside world. You wore women's panties, bras, and clothes in secret from everyone. It was your way of telling yourself, as long as this clothing is on me, as long as this bra strap presses on my shoulder, I exist. I am real underneath all this gray, coarse lie. You rubbed your skin with lace not for the sake of pain. You made that small sacrifice to feel alive. I know this. I know how many times you bought a set of women's lingerie, wore it for a few hours with a pounding heart, and then, in a panic, threw it down the garbage chute, only to buy another one the next week. That is a cycle of self-destruction. Destruction not of your desire, but of your cowardice. You weren't throwing away the lingerie. You were throwing away yourself, only to save yourself again with a purchase the next day. It's normal that you tried to be a man, you gave it a try, but now the time has come to move on and admit the truth. The first step. It has already been taken. It cannot be avoided. You remember your first time, when you crossed the threshold of a women's lingerie store, you came to buy your first pretty women's panties. Sweaty palms, a lump in your throat, a stupid cover story about a gift for a girlfriend. You lied to the sales assistant, but the main thing is you lied to yourself that it was a one-time experiment. You bought simple cotton panties, as innocent as possible, but when you put them on at home, the world shifted. It wasn't just pleasant. It was right, so right that it scared you. And in that fear, you made yourself a promise. I'll just try it once. Then you'll only wear it at home. Then you already try wearing it only under jeans. And then came stockings, a garter belt, a bra with foam inserts. You started looking for more feminine styles. You began to take an interest in makeup, even if only in theory, watching guides on YouTube. This is an inevitability. The path of a sissy is a staircase with steps disappearing behind your back. You cannot go back to simple panties once you've tried a set with garters. You cannot forget the sensation of nylon stockings when your legs are shaved and moisturized. Each new item does not cancel the old one. It reinforces the foundation of your new female personality. And here's what I'm telling you straight. You will go all the way. You will wake up in a women's pajama set. You will buy everyday women's clothing because men's clothing will cause sensory rejection. Your walk will change because the anatomy of women's shoes and clothing dictates a different motor function. You will be forced to sit differently, bend over differently, fix your hair, even if it's still short. This is not a plan, not a threat, it's simply a law of nature. The law of your feminine nature. Now let's talk about passivity. The desire to submit. I know what you feel. You watch pornography and you catch yourself that you are not in the man's place. You have never been in his place. The prospect of being dominant has never turned you on. Your fantasy has always been focused on being used. On being laid out, flipped over, used. You stroked yourself, imagining how you're called a good girl, how you're being ordered around. After orgasm, you felt ashamed, and you tried to fantasize normally, the way men do. You thought about women, but it was mechanical and boring because all your thoughts drifted to one idea, where you would submit to a woman, and that really aroused you. Your level of arousal directly depends on the degree of your capitulation as a man. This is not psychological trauma, not a consequence of watching BDSM content. This is your sexual orientation toward submission. You want to be passive. You want the other side to make the decisions. The dominant, the mistress. In bed and beyond. You are comfortable being an object. This is not a metaphor. Objectification is your state of comfort. When you are an object, the burden of responsibility is lifted from you. You turn into a tool for someone else's pleasure, and in that tool there is no anxiety. There is only function. To serve. To give pleasure. To be good. For you, the phrase, good girl, is not humiliation, but the highest praise that hits right into the pleasure center of your brain. You crave to hear it. You would build your whole life around hearing it over and over again. This is your form of love. You are a good girl. Look how far you've come. You're listening to me and you're not denying my words. You really are a good girl. Your brain isn't resisting. You feel that I'm right. And now let's talk about your role. The female role is not limited to the bedroom. I'm talking about the full social and psychological matrix. You don't just want a sexual role as a woman. You want to live as a woman. This includes things that you probably haven't fully realized yourself. In everyday life, you're tired of being the initiator. You hate it when you're expected to fix the faucet, sort out taxes, handle things. You dream that someone else handles these matters while you do what your soul truly lies in. Creating coziness, aesthetics, caring for the space and for the dominant. You want to be an ornament. You want your value to be defined not by the size of your salary or social status, but by your beauty, obedience, and tenderness. This is not infantilism. It's your authentic social role. You complement rather than create. You do not penetrate the world. You receive it and soften it. In the classical system, this is the female role. You gravitate toward it not because it's trendy, but because it's the only role in which your inner conflict disappears. You are not a fighter. You are a muse. You are not a warrior. You are the reward for the warrior. The moment you accept this without internal irony, you will feel a monstrous tension fall from your shoulders. Being a man is stress. I say this not to comfort you. I say it as a fact. Being a man in this cruel world means constantly proving your worth. Competition, emotional numbness, chronic muscle tension from suppressed fear. You must want, must achieve, must protect. Your self-esteem is tied to results. And for someone like you, this is around-the-clock torture because you don't want to play that game. Your body tells you this in the language of psychosomatics: a lump in your throat, spasms in your back, insomnia. You live in fight or flight mode, although your nervous system is designed for tend and befriend mode. Being a woman, being a sissy, is an exit into a space of calm and joy. It is not euphoria from cross-dressing. It is a background, steady sense of the rightness of being. When you are dressed as befits you, when you communicate in your natural manner, softly, yielding, interested, when you allow yourself to simply be a woman, your cortisol level drops. You start sleeping well. You start smiling for no reason. You discover that joy is not some special reward for victory, but simply a quiet, constant glow inside. This is available to women, and it is available to you as soon as you stop climbing the cliff called masculinity. You're freaking out right now. I know. You're sitting there and you don't understand how I know all this. How I know about those hands, trembling at the first clasp of a bra. How I know about your fear that someone will find the stash of women's things. How I know about your thoughts before sleep. What if I just move to another city and start living as a girl? I know this because I've seen hundreds like you. Because you are not a unique snowflake with a rare perversion. You are one of many. You all come with the same pain, with the same wounds inflicted by society's attempts to make men out of you. I know how you are built because I have studied the anatomy of your soul. Did you think your shameful secrets were unique? No, this is the standard operating system of a sissy. And my task is not to surprise you with tricks, but to show you the whole truth about yourself, which you've hidden even from yourself. I am simply stating reality. You have always been a sissy. It's stupid to try to be a man. Your pull toward the feminine is not filth. It's a marker of the right path. Your passivity is not a vice, but your true sexual position. Your desire to submit is your way of connecting with the world. The female role is not a masquerade, but your social niche. Accept this as a fact. Don't fight. With every day of resistance, you simply prolong your stress. To surrender is to win. Being a woman, being a sissy, is not all pink madness. It's simply a normal, calm life without an eternal war with yourself. You have the right to this. You deserve it after years of suffering. You've listened to my first lesson. You've heard the facts about yourself, about how you have always been a sissy, that it's stupid to try to be a man, that your pull toward women's clothing is normal. Now we will go further. Now I will tell you where all of this inevitably leads. And I'll start with what you do and what every sissy does at a certain stage, with something you may have never told anyone, considering it your own personal thing. You throw away women's things. You've done it dozens of times. After a particularly vivid evening, when you allowed yourself to put on a full set of women's lingerie, twirl in front of the mirror, feel that wrong, burning feminine energy, and then you experienced an orgasm, no matter by what method, a shame crashes down on you. Not a slight embarrassment, but a wave, a tsunami of self-disgust. You look at yourself in the mirror with different eyes now, the eyes of an inner overseer, and you see not the beautiful woman you were a moment ago, but a caricature, a pervert, a mistake of nature. You tear those women's things off yourself, crumple them up, stuff them into a bag. You make a vow to yourself, an absolutely sincere, the most honest vow of your life. That's it. This is the last time. I will never wear women's things again. I will be normal. I will become a man. You take the bag out to the trash, return home, and feel a strange, painful relief. It seems to you that you've put a period, that you've won. Several days pass, sometimes a week, sometimes two. The shame settles to the bottom, and in the silence that forms, it starts to sprout the desire. At first quiet, almost unrecognized, like a faint itch. You catch yourself letting your gaze linger on a shop window with women's lingerie, on a woman in a beautiful dress, on an advertisement for stockings. You tell yourself, no, I'm just appreciating beauty. You're lying. Your body already knows. Your fingers remember the texture of the silk you threw away. Your skin remembers the embrace of lace. You start involuntarily looking for a replacement. You visit websites just to look at women's lingerie, just to be curious. And now you're already placing an order, this time even more beautiful, even more feminine, even one size closer to your true body. You're buying not just panties, but a set with a garter belt. Not just a skirt, but a dress. You come back to it with tripled strength, because suppression always intensifies desire. This is not moral weakness. This is not a lack of willpower. This is basic psychophysiology. This is a law. Now you've sunk even deeper into feminization. And it doesn't matter what stage you're at. And you must understand right now that this is not a failure. It's a stage. A clear, documented, mandatory stage of feminization. It has a name, this shame purge return cycle. Everyone goes through it. Absolutely every sissy I've worked with has told me this story word for word. Only the brands of lingerie and the places where they threw the bags differed. This cycle doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means you're trying to destroy what cannot be destroyed. You're trying to breed a new essence out of yourself, and each time it regenerates, becoming only brighter and more demanding. You're not at war with a vice. You're at war with yourself. And you will never win this war, because victory in it would mean the complete destruction of your psyche. Now let's talk about why there is no way back. I'm not scaring you. I'm not prophesying hell for you. I'm simply describing the structure of a reality you can verify from your own experience. You can pretend to be a man. You can force yourself not to wear women's clothing. You can get married, have kids, build a career, grow a beard, and buy a gym membership. You can live like that for 10, 20, 30 years. But what will happen to your psyche all that time? It will be violated. Every single day. Because your subconscious, your deep identity, does not accept the male role. It screams and you gag it. You spend a colossal resource maintaining a male facade. That resource doesn't come from thin air. It is taken from your health. Chronic stress caused by suppressing your true self leads to anxiety disorders, depression, panic attacks. You can chalk it up to fatigue at work, to age, to anything. But the reason is simple. You should have been born a woman. Your brain, your neurobiology, is formed according to the female type, or according to a type that requires the expression of the feminine principle. When you deny it this, you create a constant cognitive dissonance. It's like forcing a left-handed person to write with their right hand, punishing them for every attempt to switch the pen. In a year, they might be able to write, but at what cost? A nervous tic, a stutter, a depressive disorder. The same thing happens to your soul. You get psychosomatic issues, migraines, stomach problems, insomnia, a heavy life filled with irritability, apathy, sudden bursts of aggression. You become a bad partner, a bad father, a bad friend, because you cannot give warmth to others when inside you there is a war. You torment not only yourself, but everyone around you. This is not a hypothesis. These are clinical observations. Do you want this? Is this the life you want? I know the answer. You want peace. You want joy. But the path to them lies not through suppression, but through the recognition of your real feminine essence. And here we come to the next stage, to where everything inevitably leads, to the stage of acceptance, to the moment when you stop throwing things away, when you stop making vows, when you, for the first time, looking in the mirror no longer with hatred, but with tired relief, say to yourself, yes, I am a sissy. I want to be a woman. This doesn't happen in one day. It is the culmination of hundreds of cycles of shame. You simply can't lie anymore. Logic, that very male logic you tried to summon for help, loses. Desires are stronger than logic. This is not a metaphor, but a neurobiological fact. The emotional centers of the brain, the limbic system, are older and more powerful than the neocortex. When the deep desire for identity comes into play, your rational constructions crumble like a house of cards. You can make as many lists of pros and cons of living in a male body as you want. You can calculate social risks, think about the reaction of your relatives, about your career. But at 3 in the morning, when you're alone, your logic falls silent. And you hear that call again. And you visit that women's clothing website again. Because it is stronger than you. Because it is you. Accept this as a given. Any woman is emotional by nature. And a sissy too. This is one of those crazy similarities that you denied for so long. You are emotional. No, you're not a sensitive guy. You possess a female emotional structure. You experience the world not through analysis and suppression, but through feelings, through sensations, through atmosphere. You cry at movies that other men watch with a stony face. You get offended by words, by intonations, by a lack of attention. You blossom from a compliment and wilt from criticism. Your mood changes several times a day, and this is not bipolar disorder. It's the emotional ability of a healthy woman. You need approval. You need to be noticed, praised, told that you're beautiful, that you're doing great. You seek patronage. You want to be taken care of. This is not weakness. This is the female type of psyche. And you have it. Always have. I'll list other similarities for you, and you'll recognize yourself in them. You love beauty. Not just appreciate it, but you need it. You can get stuck on the texture of a fabric, on a color combination, on an elegant line. You're tactile. It's vitally necessary for you to touch pleasant surfaces, to stroke silk, to finger lace, to feel softness. Your empathy is off the charts. You read the mood of those around you instantly. You absorb someone else's pain like a sponge. You can't pass by someone else's suffering without feeling it inside. This is classic female hyperempathy. Your desire to please is not vanity. It is the basic need of a female being to be an object of attention. You don't do makeup for yourself. You do makeup to be seen, to receive a response, to feel your worth through external approval. And that's normal. Your intuition works differently from male logic. You make decisions not based on calculations, but on a vague but almost always correct feeling. You just know. And often you can't even explain where it came from. This is female knowledge. In sexuality, even if we remove pornography, the similarity to women is absolute. You are passive. You don't want to conquer. You want to be conquered. You want to be chosen, appraised, invited. You want the initiative to come from the other person. You want to be led in the dance, literally and figuratively. You wait for someone to take you by the hand and tell you what to do. Your arousal doesn't come from dominating a woman, but from feeling like a desired object, from capitulation, from trust. You are that woman who submits. You want to be taken care of in bed, to be opened up slowly, to be told tender words. This is female sexuality, not male. And it never was male. You can simulate an active role, but inside you are always waiting for the moment when you can relax and give in. The similarity to a woman also manifests in social instincts. You don't want to compete. Male competition nauseates you. You want to cooperate, create coziness, harmonize the space. You're a born keeper of the hearth, even if your hearth is a rented apartment. You like decorating the house, arranging knickknacks, creating atmosphere. You talk about others not in terms of hierarchy, but in terms of relationships. For you, it's more important who likes whom, who's in a quarrel with whom, rather than who's more important than whom. You gossip. Yes, you gossip in your own head, even if you never allow yourself to do it out loud. You discuss details, you notice who's wearing what, who looked at whom in what way. This is female social intelligence. And it's developed in you to an incredible degree because you've used it for a long time to mimic being a man, constantly scanning how to behave correctly. But this tool was created for something else. Your development will continue, whether you want it or not. It's like puberty, only psychological. You can slow it down by suppression, but the price is ruined health and an unhappy life. You can accept it and walk the path consciously. Acceptance is not a moment of weakness. It is not capitulation to a vice. It is the signing of a peace treaty with yourself. It is the cessation of the civil war inside your skull. When you admit, I am a sissy, I want to be a woman, you exhale fully for the first time in your entire life. You no longer need to lie. You no longer need to hide. You become whole. And this state of wholeness gives you energy. That very energy you used to spend on suppression can now be directed toward creation, toward building your new life, toward being beautiful, being loved, being happy. This doesn't mean you'll walk out of the house in a dress tomorrow. It means you'll stop considering yourself sick. It means you'll allow yourself to systematically study makeup, Women's clothing, manners, not with a sense of guilt, but with a sense of exploratory excitement. It means you'll find a community where you'll be understood. It means you'll build relationships in which your role will be natural, whether with an accepting woman or with a dominant man. These are details of your personal spectrum. The main thing is that you'll stop playing. You'll start living. I, the mistress, am telling you this not to comfort you. I don't need your tears. I need your clarity. Look at the facts. You've gone through the cycle of shame dozens of times. You know it comes back. You know that suppression makes you sick. You see the similarity to women in everything, from emotions to sexual desires. You understand that desire is stronger than logic. The only reasonable, adult, responsible step is to acknowledge reality. You are a sissy. You want to be a woman. This is your nature. It won't change. Your entire future life will be determined by how you handle this knowledge. You can turn away from it and go back into the cycle of shame. Or you can accept it and begin the path at the end of which you will finally see in the mirror not an enemy, not a man, but the girl you were meant to be born. The choice is always yours. But I know what choice your true nature will make. Better now, right this second. You choose to be a woman. Say it to me. Write in the comments what you choose. Now, for the final step. I have developed a test for sissies. 100 questions. You don't stand a chance of lying to me. It will determine who you are, a man or a sissy. To get this test, you need to go to my Patreon and choose the secret tier for $10. But don't worry, there is a free tier so you can start your feminization under my control right now.